Welcome back to 3 Towers Investing Channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about what we are going to face in the near future. Do we really have an incoming recession that's going to be the mother of all recessions? We will show you the opinion and forecast of some of the wealthiest people of our generation who are seriously keeping an eye on what's said to be a catastrophe in our economy. But before that, if you're new here, please hit the like button, subscribe, and click on that notification bell to stay updated whenever we have new amazing videos. With the Russia-Ukraine conflict, record high levels of inflation, and rising gas and oil costs, the US may be on the verge of experiencing one of the worst recessions in history. The unemployment rate is rising, people losing their homes, and there's violence. People might suddenly lose their homes, employment, and worst of all of their money. Not only financial experts predicted this, but the richest billionaires in the world think that the United States is headed for its worst economic downfall since the 1920s. Let's start with the richest man in the world, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk. As of June 2022, according to Forbes' list, Elon Musk is still the richest with a net worth of $215.6 billion. How could things possibly get out of hand now? Although he's still the richest, Elon's net worth has decreased from 2021 to 2022 by around $100 billion. He has suffered from a variety of factors, including a sharp decline in Tesla stock and the effects of the Russian-Ukrainian war. Elon believes that things will only become worse. Musk predicted in a tweet in December 2021 that a global recession will do severe damage to all global markets and result in an enormous financial disaster. When one of his followers asked when the next recession will start, Musk tweeted that it is impossible to predict macroeconomics. However, he stated that this will happen no later than 2023. Elon also predicted most startup companies would not survive the upcoming recession. Currently, there are more than 900 startups valued at more than $1 billion today. Aside from Elon Musk, American billionaire investor and hedge fund manager Leon Cooperman also believes the implications of the US Federal Reserve's policy adjustment as well as hiking oil prices might lead to a recession in the US by 2023. Cooperman is among the Wall Street analysts and investors who have expressed concern about the Fed's plan to stop providing financial support to the US economy and instead raise interest rates in an effort to keep inflation under control. Recessions often follow anytime the Fed increases interest rates to fight inflation. In actuality, the Fed raised its key interest rate for the first time since March 2018 in an effort to slow the soaring price of commodities. The Fed has warned of further rate increases this year, as well as 3 additional increases in 2023, further complicating matters. Cooperman has called the Federal Reserve the most dangerous collection of fiscal monetary policies for its failure to act swiftly in the face of growing consumer prices. While stock investors like Cooperman often benefit from inflation in the short term, when the Fed tries to control it, these rising prices typically turn into a problem. Cooperman then made the decision to inform investors of the potential for a bear market, which often comes before a recession. He went on to argue that investors realize that reducing growth in a bad market is the same as decreasing inflation and that whoever loses, the least wins. The founder and majority shareholder of Icahn Enterprises, Carl Icahn, believes that a terrible recession is imminent in the United States. He highlighted in an interview that the nation will go bankrupt as a result of the Federal Reserve's decision to boost interest rates to fight inflation. Then he said that Fed Chair Jerome Powell had said that depending on the situation, interest rates may be hiked more quickly. Billionaire investor and one of the world's innovators in the finance world, Ray Dalio, has a different outlook from Musk, Cooperman, and Icahn, who all forecast a recession in the near future. According to Dalio, instead of a recession, we can see stagflation because of high interest rates and soaring inflation. Stagflation is defined by rising inflation, rising unemployment, and weak economic growth, in contrast to a recession, which results in the collapse of the whole economy. He claims that the evidence is already in front of us because the cost of used vehicles, food, and rent all jumped in February due to the Consumer Price Index 7.9% increase, which was the highest pace of inflation in 40 years. In addition, personal consumption expenditures rose by 6.4% in February, up from 6.1% in January, leading to one of the highest inflation rates since 1982. With a barrel of oil now selling for well over $100, up from $70.68 in 2021. Oil prices have also experienced the most ridiculous price increases of any commodity in the world. This had an influence on consumer confidence as well as the pricing of other essential items. As inflation continues to wreak havoc on the American economy, Dalio is alerting the public through the Fed's activities that stagflation is imminent. While other billionaires were expressing measured opinions on inflation, the third richest man in the world, Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos, accused President Joe Biden of disseminating false information about inflation on Twitter. This followed President Biden's remarks that wealthy corporations like Amazon should contribute fairly to taxes in order to reduce the high rates of inflation in the nation. This is what transpired. Biden tweeted something along these lines. Those really wealthy firms should pay their due amount of taxes if you want to stop the inflation. When Bezos saw this tweet, he instantly commented that the newly established disinformation board should review it because there is no connection between corporate taxes and inflation. Biden has previously criticized companies like Amazon for allegedly evading taxes. The president advocated for Amazon to begin tax collection. The majority of billionaires appeared to have dismal views on the US economy in the coming months, with the exception of Bezos, who appears to be living in his own fanciful world. Now the big question is, if this happens, what do we do? Let's see what the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett, has to say about this. Warren Buffett restated the same advice he has given for years on inflation. The best defense against inflation is always honing your skills and working really hard to be the best at what you do. Buffett thinks that being so outstanding at something that people would always give you some of what they produce in return for what you offer is the only way to deal with the impacts of inflation in an approaching recession. He emphasized that skills, as opposed to cash, are inflation-proof. Meaning that if you have learned a skill that is in high demand, you will get compensated, regardless of the value of the currency. Buffett continued by saying that whatever skills you possess, they cannot be diminished or inflated. If that was not possible, the next best course of action was to invest in a successful company that produces high-quality goods, assuring that demand will always be met, regardless of the status of the economy. Buffett mentioned Coca-Cola as an example, saying that even decades from now, when inflation would have increased its price to 3 times, consumers would still want to drink Coca-Cola. However, Buffett said self-improvement is definitely the finest investment because it is not even taxed, and the best course of action is to continually invest in oneself. I hope you learned something from today's video. If you did, it's great to share this video so others will learn something from it too. As always, thank you for watching till the end. This is your 3 Towers Investing channel, giving you the latest in finance, investment, and innovation.